have a world-changing brownie recipe for you. It uses applesauce in place of some of the fat, a little bit of whole wheat flour. That's world-changing enough, don't you think? But it's still extremely delicious, so I highly recommend that you try it. Of course, the first thing that you need to do when you're making your brownie is butter your pan. And here at Everyday Food, we really like to line our pans with parchment. It makes it much easier to get out of the pan. You cut 2 strips of parchment that are long enough to line the bottom of the pan, then butter the first piece of parchment only on the bottom. Second piece of parchment goes into your pan. Butter that too. So the parchment just needs to come a little bit up over the sides, about an inch. I'll show you later, but you can lift the whole thing out at the end, which is also life-changing. Totally life-changing. Semi-sweet chocolate. You need 8 ounces. This is a 9-ounce bar, so I'm not gonna use it all. Hard to cut chocolate. I'm setting aside an ounce. And then, I've pointed this out before, but I'll point it out again. This serrated knife is really great for cutting chocolate. Those little serrated edges cut straight through the chocolate with the greatest of ease. Set aside about 2 ounces. That's gonna get sprinkled on the top right before it's baked. The rest goes into a bowl. The 6 tablespoons of butter goes straight in there with it. You can cut it up to make it melt more quickly if you'd like. And then you're gonna melt it on a double boiler. I mean, it's technically not a double boiler, but it acts exactly like a double boiler. The water should be just simmering, steam rising off, tiny little bubbles. Don't let the bottom of the bowl touch the water and just have it steam a little bit. Make sure your bowl is heat-proof. And stir it once in a while with a rubber spatula while it melts. That'll just take a couple minutes, so I'm gonna measure out my dry ingredients and my wet ingredients and all that other stuff. Half a cup of regular old flour, otherwise known as all-purpose. Half cup of whole wheat flour, and then 1/3 of a cup of cocoa powder. This adds to the depth of flavor that you want in a brownie. Teaspoon of coarse salt. If you're using fine salt, use half a teaspoon. Okay, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Now you can whisk. You want to get all the lumps out. Now I'm going to do the wet ingredients. 1¼ cups of applesauce, unsweetened. Don't use the sweetened. It's not as healthy, right? A cup of brown sugar. When you're measuring brown sugar, you want to pack the brown sugar into the cup. I packed it so hard I can't get the sugar out. That's okay. Last but not leastly, an egg. 1 large egg. Whisk it together. So it also only has 1 egg. The applesauce replaces some of the fat from the egg yolk. So here you want to make sure that all those brown sugar lumps get all dissolved. You do want to check your chocolate as it's melting and stir it once in a while so that the sides don't burn. Now to combine, you probably should let your chocolate cool for about 5 minutes before you add it. Just in case, there is an egg in there, you don't want it to cook. Whisk that together and then add your dry ingredients. And then whisk it. Don't be too freaked out if it's slightly lumpy. It's not going to be as smooth as maybe a regular batter would be because it has applesauce in it, which has texture. 1 more whisk for good measure. Then you can just pour your batter straight into your pan. I'm switching tools midway because that whisk I was using was not the appropriate tool for scraping batter out of a bowl. Use a rubber spatula for that. I was gonna put it in the oven, but I realized I forgot to put the chocolate on top. The 2 ounces I saved before, this adds a really nice richness. So now this just goes in the oven, 350 degrees for about 40 minutes. They're done. I think they're done anyway. Let's check, shall we? Toothpick, voila, totally done. A toothpick inserted in the center should come out clean. Just let them cool on a cooling rack. Wait for it. These are cool. Grab, lift. That's life-changing in and of itself, right? They smell unbelievable. Sticky. That means that it's delicious because it's all fudgy and brownie-ish. You know what? I didn't wait till they were completely cool. I admit it. I couldn't wait, and I wanted to share it with you immediately. Is your life changed? My life is completely changed. Delicious. Try these today. Or tomorrow, or at least this weekend.